What's up, guys? So I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover here at the beginning. Basically, I lost my intro footage of me leaving the campground for this ride. This is the Loose Nut Dual Sport ride for 2018, just last year that I did this ride. This was hosted by Loose Nut himself over in his great state of Indiana, southern Indiana to be exact. And we left out of Turkey Run State Park, and that was just near Marshall, Indiana. So basically, I had a couple problems with this ride. My Senna was just being a complete pain. It wouldn't turn my Garmin on and off properly. My Garmin was working great because if I turned the Senna off and did voice control, it worked perfectly. But with the Senna, it was giving me problems. It was stopping late, not stopping at all, and just doing all kinds of havoc. So later on in the video, it's going to get kind of loud, and that's because I've unhooked my Senna, and I actually couldn't get it to reconnect until that night when I was off the motorcycle and messing with it. So for the day 2 ride, it'll be connected and working again, but not without the problems that I had today. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and thanks for watching.
You do not see much of this in Missouri. Freaking cornfields, and this is what it was like in the state I grew up in Illinois. Just lots of cornfields, but at least here in Indiana, it is flat, but there's a lot. You know, in southern Indiana, there's a lot more. You know, northern Indiana, I believe, is a lot of cornfields, but down here in the bottom, there's less cornfield, but there's still cornfield. Man, look at that smokestack up there. I wonder what that is. I wonder if that's like a steel plant or something, or kind of power plant. Alright, I forgot to record going across the last covered bridge, so we just got a shot of the beginning of that, because we actually stopped there and I cleaned my visor and stuff. So, but yeah, we just left Patton's Corner, had a bunch of old machinery and kind of some neat things. Took some pictures that I'll put up. And now we should be coming to another covered bridge. At least that sign back there said that. And we just got passed by an absolute mess of riders. I mean, there must have been 15 guys in this one group. And the good news is we're going to know where everybody stops for lunch, because there's going to be a hell of a lot of bikes there. Alright, I think we're coming up to a covered bridge now. Let's see what this one's called. And this one is Marshall Bridge. And it's a shorter one, but still definitely pretty neat. Another 1 lane. I wonder if there's any 2-lane covered bridges. Guess they probably didn't have a reason to build a 2-lane, really. Not a lot of traffic back in those days, I would imagine. Ooh, here's a kind of a cool one. I think it's a pretty long one. Looks like we all just turn around up here then. Rush Creek Bridge. Cool. Alright, I think we are flipping around here. Built in 1904. Pretty neat. What bridge is that? Is that number 4? 4 or 5? I'm definitely going to lose count today, if I haven't already.
Outer Forward Bridge.
So I thought this would be a good spot to add a little bit of voiceover. This was one of the most interesting parts of the day that wasn't really a scenic thing, but is, you know, more of a terrain thing. But this was just, like, looking across this field, I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, just a little road going between a field here, no big deal. But with the rain that Indiana had in the last week, this was a mess, and this was the demise of quite a few riders, including the rider that was with me. He had quite a bit of problems. He was on a larger bike, and I can't even think of what bike he was on, but it's in the video here. I'm sure somebody will see it and realize what it is, but I can't think of what it is. But it's a newer bike, but it's really low to the ground. And it's heavy, and it had more of a street tire on it. So here you can see quite a few riders are kind of just looking ahead to see what they're in for. And then you hear me on the DRZ 400 with full knobbies just giving it hell, because that's what I do when I find this kind of stuff. I love this kind of riding. So right through here is where it really started getting soupy, and there was really no gravel in here at all. This was literally a road through a field. I mean, there was nothing to make the road drivable by anything. Trying to wait up for my partner here. I did let him know throughout the ride that I would probably get a bit ahead of him, because I'm on a really light dual sport and he's on a more heavier, low to the ground type of bike. So I just let him know that I would, you know, ride ahead and enjoy myself, and then slow down so he could catch up at times. So at this point, I didn't realize my partner was having trouble until I started looking back, and I believe that he had dropped his bike at this point in the slippery mud. So I kind of detoured through the straight through the field, which, you know, normally I wouldn't do this, but this crop was already harvested, so I wasn't worried about hurting this farmer's field just for a quick turnaround here. And I beat feet back to my friend to help him, but there was already a rider or two off their bikes to help him. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that was like a Himalayan or something, possibly. Like a Royal Enfield, maybe.
You alright?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
By the time I got there,
all
he had
over
it
the
up.
fucking place.
Yeah.
When I dropped it, I was only going like maybe 2 miles an hour.
Yeah. It just, yeah, I see your tires are pretty much slicks now.
Yeah. So I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get out of this shit.
Slow and easy.
Maybe ride on the sides or something.
Yeah, might
I mean,
help.
even after I came around, see where I got loose. But even before that, I mean, I've been in the corn stalks for like 3 different times.
Yeah.
Bam, right into the corn stalks. I don't know. Let me try to see if I can get over in the hard shit.
Yeah, at this point, his tires were just absolutely caked in mud, and they were already slicks. You know, they weren't knobbies, but at this point, they were they were slicks. So after a little bit of stopping and going, some other riders, like you see here, were having trouble, but they're a little bit bigger bike and they've got more street-oriented tires. So they were kind of slipping and sliding around on this. So here we are quite a bit later, and I was kind of tired of the stop and go, and I just opened it up here and let it eat because I was ready. My bike doesn't like to go slow, and neither do I. I was going through every puddle I could hit pretty much. It didn't bother me at all. everybody's heading for the high ground, and I'm staying down in the mud. Finally here we were coming to the end of the mud section. We'd round one last corner and cross the field again in a pretty decently dry section. I think there was even a little gravel down, and then we were back on, I think it was a little bit of paved road coming up. And I'm sure my partner was pretty happy to get out of this soupy mud. So at this point, I realized that my friend wasn't behind me. I actually had last seen him about a mile ago. We were up on top of, well, on the other side of this bridge, across the field, up the hill. I had seen him, and apparently I came down the hill before him, crossed over, went straight. He thought I went another way, and he ended up going left and cutting off the track, and we ended up missing each other because I actually rode back right here to look for him, went down another way, and then came back this way, which is the correct path. The way I'm looking right here is the way that the route goes. Alright, so I spent about 20 minutes or so backtracking looking for my friend, and I just couldn't figure out where he went and how I could have lost him in that short amount of time. But it pretty much turned out that I rode across the field, he didn't see me, he turned left, jumped off the track completely, and I stayed on the track, of course, and I ended up following the track forward from there. And I went into the next town, kind of waiting around for him, and was eating lunch because there was a lunch stop there in town. So I was eating lunch, and my good buddy Camel Bill rode by, and I'd rode with him on a couple previous rides back in Missouri. So, you know, 2 states away, we're on the same ride, and he rode by and seen me sitting there eating lunch, and we got to chatting, and I joined his group, and I rode the rest of the day with him, and it was pretty good riding with him. Camel Bill is one hell of a rider, and he is very quick, and on his KTM, he lets it eat every time he hits the pavement and there's a straightaway. He absolutely cracks the throttle. And it took a lot for me to keep up on my little 400